Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And, yeah, that's a horrible intro. But, anyways, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. My first impressions of the game, and I'm only a couple hours in, coaching high school baseball, being a dad, working full-time, doing content for this. Takes up a lot of your time, and, man, do I not get to play as many games as I like, especially if they're on the TV up here on the Xbox or the PlayStation and not on my Switch or my ROG Ally. Wait, no, I don't have the ROG Ally. I have the Legion Go. See, I don't even get to play games much. I forget which systems I have. But first impressions of the game, it feels a lot like an old school Square RPG, especially like the later Final Fantasies, like your 9s and your 10s. Just kind of with the dialogue, the story beats, the music, the characters, things like that. So I'm really enjoying that aspect. It's a nice throwback, but with a lot of modern things, especially because with the turn-based RPGs, with the exception of a few, we'll talk about that. You don't get the real engine or Unreal Engine 5 realistic style graphics. Generally speaking, if you're going to get a throwback JRPG, you're going to get pixelated or kind of an art style that's not really realistic. I know there are exceptions, and we're going to talk about those exceptions in this video. So it's really cool to have that. It's something, I kind of wish Square would do. I do like the Final Fantasy remakes. I like Final Fantasy 16. But because of the action style to it, it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game, if that makes sense. I do like the turn-based because yes, you can control your, party mates, but you got to switch control and things like that. And when it's like a hack and slash style of combat, I'd rather just control the one person. I'll switch if the attacks for my party members are more effective against the foe. So that will be the case where I switch. For the most part, like if I'm playing Final Fantasy 7, I'm just sticking with Cloud, and I'll switch to the other folks if it's advantageous to the battle. But I do like how it's turn-based RPG. You get to play with all your characters, unlike some turn-based RPGs where you just select the one person and all your folks do attacks on their own. So yeah. So one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with this is I've seen a lot of positive posts. In fact, right here, the team tweeted out that over 1 million copies sold, which is awesome. And that's not even counting Xbox and or not Xbox and Xbox Game Pass downloads. So that's pretty awesome for them. And I think over the weekend there was somewhere near 200,000 concurrent players. Peak for Steam, somewhere around there. It might be a little less. It might be like 160. I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm sure I could have found them before I did this, but that's not how we do here. We travel by the seat of our pants with this. So yeah, it's really good that people are playing this. I was excited when it got announced. I thought it looked really cool. And then when Xbox did their developer spotlight on the development team for this game, as well as showing a little bit more of the game, I was almost salivating. I was like, I cannot wait for this game to come out. I can't wait to play it. So far, so good. I've enjoyed it. Like I said, only a couple hours in. But from what I've seen from people who've beaten it, like Spawn Wave, they really enjoy it. So I assume I'll probably, finish the game, enjoy it, and everything like that. It's got a really cool, mysterious story so far, which I do like. It's got a story where I've got my theories, which I won't share in case they're right, so I don't spoil anything for anybody. But it's one of those things, like I have my theories, but it's one of those things where I don't think I'm spot on. Like, generally speaking, when I'm watching something or playing a game and I'm watching the story beats and everything like that, I'm like, oh, I know exactly where this is going. And usually I'm pretty close, if not like spot on accurate. This one, I'm like, I got an idea, and then something else happens, like, oh, this is chipping away at my idea. So I really like that. It keeps me intrigued. It keeps me guessing. And I'm not just playing for the story. I'm enjoying the gameplay and the aspects of exploring. I'm enjoying the combat system. I still got to get that parry down. I'm pretty good at dodging. The parrying, I got to get down because that is how you defeat some tough bosses, is you knock their attack right back at them. So really enjoying it. But like I said, I've seen a lot of things on the internet, some positive, some negative. One of the negative aspects I've seen is One, it's talking about what is the main character's name? Shit, I almost said Lumiere, but that is not his name. Damn it. Oh well. The main character, like, people are comparing him and Cloud, saying they're soy boys, they need women to help him, and things like that. It's, again, only a couple hours in, so I can't comment fully on the character development of Gustav. Gustav is his name. So I can't comment fully on his character development, but just from the opening, like, scenes of the game, he's broken. Like, he's a broken dude, and broken dudes, or broken dudettes, they do need people to lift them up. The development team, the story writers, decided mostly on 2 female leads. Again, I'm not going to go into any spoiler territory here. I'm not going to say anything. To kind of help him get out of it. And so far, I have not seen what people like to call girl bossing or anything like that. It just seems like broken main character, which we get a lot of, especially if you are into a lot of Japanese games, Japanese anime. A lot of the male leads are broken guys, and they need help from their friends to build them back up. That's just kind of an aspect of a lot of it. Whether they're dark and mysterious because of a dark past, or tragedy, which you get to see, something like that. You see a lot of it in I'm going to say just Japanese entertainment. And I'm not proficient in all of Japanese entertainment, so I'm not going to say this is all of it, but a lot of the ones that I like, you tend to get that, like Gundam Wing, a lot of the Square JRPGs, Attack on Titan's one of them. So it's just a storytelling element of the game. So again, I'm not seeing any girl bossing or any belittling of the main character, which we do see somewhat in a lot of Western entertainment. And again, this is a French studio, so it's not like it's a Japanese studio making this, but it is an homage, a throwback, a love letter to JRPGs. So they would take storytelling beats, from those genres to tell their story. So I don't get these complaints other than people grifting to grift, or they're trying to get engagement on Twitter, because I see a lot of these complaints coming from people with paid blue check marks. And I mean, engagement farming, because they get, I don't know how much you get paid, but you get paid for each little, response you get. So if you create a controversial topic and people respond, whether they agree with you or they argue with you, you get paid a little bit. So they're just working the system. I can't fault people for working the system. My morals don't allow me to do that, because I've thought about that. I've thought about, man, I could just create a fake account and just shit post. And I've honestly thought about that, but I'm not going to. I can't do that to myself. So it is what it is. If you like the story, you like the story. If you don't like the story, you don't like the story. Play a different game, especially if you're playing on Game Pass. Doesn't cost you anything. I mean, yeah, you pay for the subscription, but downloading that particular game to play that particular game doesn't cost you anything. So I would just say, play it. If you like the story, if you like the gameplay, you'll enjoy it. If you don't like the story, you don't like the gameplay, you can just delete it off your hard drive. No harm, no foul. You just wasted a couple hours trying out a game, and let's face it, I've got loads of games back there, especially those N64 ones. There's plenty of those I played back in the day that I wasted my time hoping it would get better, and it never did. And for some reason, I'm collecting them all again. But yeah, the second aspect I want to talk about are like people just loving taking in the fact that this is classic JRPG style, and then people pointing back to, like, well, what about this game? What about this game? What about this game? And in a sense, I get that, because Yakuza Like a Dragon is one of the games people point to, and yes, that is a turn-based RPG, but it's not fantasy. It takes the Like a Dragon series, which is kind of a niche series, gaining more popularity, which I love. If you watch this channel, I rave about it. In fact, the first several videos are just gameplays of Like a Dragon, so you can go back and check those out if you want. Get my opinions on that game. So it's a niche game then that takes a now niche, gameplay style, And so a lot of a lot of mainstream audience probably not exposed to it really. And then someone pointed out the Dragon Quest remake. Well, that's a remake, and it's the pixel style. So again, not the same. But it's one of those things. JRPGs have become very niche, and have not gotten the mainstream attention that Expedition 33 is getting. And I'm not even going to say good or bad, because I love the Like a Dragon series, especially the last two, Infinite Wealth and Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've really enjoyed the zany story. I love the turn-based battle system with it. Not to mention, every time you get into a turn-based battle, Ichi like hallucinates these normal thugs to look like mythical creatures and stuff like that. So it's just entertaining and fun kind of thing. So what Expedition 33 has done, though, with that genre, it's getting a lot of mainstream attention, mostly thanks to Microsoft featuring them in their studio showcase. Because I don't know if they're a part of Microsoft, if like Microsoft owns their studio, or if they're independent of Microsoft, and it just happens to be on Game Pass. Because it's hard to tell now, because Microsoft is publishing on all platforms now, so it's out on your PlayStation 5. So that. But because Microsoft has really set this game up on a pedestal, it got the mainstream publicity before launch, and then coming to Game Pass has also helped it. A lot of people wanted to try it out. Like, I was so excited once I saw this and that it was coming to Game Pass. I was like, sweet, because this looks awesome. I don't have to spend $70 on it, which is great. It's part of my Game Pass subscription, and I can play it, enjoy it as I like it. And if I don't like it, I can just delete it, kind of thing. So I think that's why it's getting the mainstream attention that it is getting, as opposed to some of the other JRPGs. Because again, it's JRPG, which for a lot of us older gamers was kind of like the dominant game, like a new Final Fantasy coming out, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, Dragon Quest, and even games like Suikoden and Lunar and things like that. When they were coming out, Xenogears, Xenosaga, things like that. When those were coming out, we'd get excited to play those. But I think that kind of game has kind of like been lower, because that was kind of state-of-the-art graphics at the time with the FMVs and things like that, because they didn't have to put much into the game engine. You walked around. When you got into a battle, it was a stagnant stage, like depending on what area you're in, the battle stage always looked the same. So it was less taxing graphically for the gameplay, so the character models could look better than your average game out on whatever system at the time. And then once we got the CD base, they could do those really cool FMVs and things like that, which is really what hooked, I think, a lot of people in the late 90s, early 2000s on JRPGs, was just the realistic FMVs. Going back and playing some of those older ones on the PlayStation now, it's like, man, we thought this was state of the art, and oh boy, it is not anymore, kind of thing. So, but gaming's evolved now, and your top selling games are your like first person shooters and action games and things like that. So the JRPG, like a lot of like JRPG series like Final Fantasies, have become MMOs as well as action RPGs. And so you've seen the JRPGs just kind of go down to where I talk about, like, so I coach high school baseball. I coach high schoolers, teenagers like our age, when we were playing the JRPGs and loving them. And these guys, if I mention a JRPG, they're just like, what is that? And they haven't even heard of some of the games I'm talking about, even like brand new releases. They haven't heard of it. They're focused on the Maddens, the Call of Duties, the NBA 2Ks, WWE 2Ks. Those kind of games are what pique their interest, and not the JRPGs. So it's more niche, and it's probably the older gamers, at least in the West, playing those type of games. So don't like badmouth Expedition 33 because it's getting the popularity. Be like, hey, people are getting introduced to JRPGs. Maybe they'll go back and play these JRPGs, and then there'll be a renaissance of the genre, and we can get more games like this developed. Like maybe Square will go back, and maybe the long-rumored Final Fantasy IX remake, maybe that will be a turn-based game. It'll be more of a remaster. We'll get better graphics tonight. Because honestly, I don't want that much to change about 9. I like the graphics in it already. Just remaster it, turn-based. Maybe not the pre-rendered backgrounds, like redo the backgrounds and everything like that, but do it in a more modern look style, like kind of take the Oblivion remaster approach, to where you put it in Unreal Engine 5 or whenever you get around to make it, whatever Unreal Engine it is at the time, and just kind of leave the game alone, like leave it turn-based. I think that will be a lot of fun. So yeah, so I'm glad this game is becoming popular, and I'm glad it's getting mainstream attention, because then maybe a lot of these folks who have discovered turn-based battle systems will go back and play some of these other titles like Persona, like a Dragon, Metaphor, things like that, and then maybe we'll get a push to some newer games coming out with the turn-based style, because I do enjoy that, because it allows you to kind of play casually, and especially if you're interested in the story, you can play casually, not really worrying about being too good at the game, because as long as you build your character up enough, because that's one thing I've always loved about the JRPGs, is you don't have to get super good. You just have to be able to sometimes just grind it out, just level up your character so that their attacks do better and their defense is better, kind of thing like that, or sometimes just get some armor. It's more of a passive game style, which I enjoy relaxing to play sometimes. Like, yes, I do like my adventure games, I like my action games, I like my sports games where you're actively, participating in it. But sometimes a good passive thing where I just walk my character from point A to point B, explore a little, grind a little, do turn-based battles. That's a nice relaxing evening. Just kick back with a drink, relax, and just enjoy the game for several hours, kind of thing like that. And it's low stress level usually, and then you enjoy a wonderful story with beautiful graphics and things like that. So that's kind of what I want to talk about here, and short video on it. I really like the game. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you've played Expedition 33. What do you think of it? Do you really like it? Are you a turn-based JRPG style fan like myself? If not, let me know why. Let me know what you don't like about it and things like that. And as always, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.